Hey there folks, for this review we're going to cover the Gundam version 1.5, which comes with the G Fighter and Core Fighter. All three units hail from the original Mobile Suit Gundam TV series. We'll get to the vehicles in a bit. Let's look at the changes made compared to the original RX-78 figure. On the left we have RX-78 version 1 and RX-78 version 1.5. Not version 2, 1.5. There's a difference. While both figures are very similar in detail, version 1.5 has different shoulders. This one has a point on the end here, this is just flat. Whereas on the arms, the end on this one is rounded, whereas on this one the arm is flat. Also, the hands in the version 1.5 are much darker. The backpack is slightly wider on this one. No more detail. The hole on their backpacks to store their shields is different. On the version 1.5, it's bigger. Also, we have these little slots here on each side of his head and behind it. Get more into those later. As you can see, there's just overall more detail. Also, here on the legs, the vents are painted in. But the differences don't just end there. The articulation, for the most part, is the same, but there are a few differences. RX-78 version 1.5 has a ball jointed head, which rotates around and can tilt up and down. The arms can move back and forth and spread out. However, the version 1 figure can spread his arms out further. See? He rotates at the biceps, bends at the elbows, turns at the wrists, turns at the waist. Ah! Ah! I broke it! Ah! Ah! Oh, ha! Silly me. It's supposed to come apart. Ah. We'll talk more on that later. It's ball jointed on the legs, bends at the knees, and it has, if you look closely, 2 joints in the ankles. Here we have a hinge joint and a ball joint here, and this gives it a much greater amount of motion than the version 1 figure. Also, the thrusters can move slightly, but not by much. This gives the figure a total of 20 points of articulation, which is pretty common for an MSIA figure. This is the American release, so as you'll note, the panel lines are not filled in, and he has only one set of hands, which is the trigger fingers to hold the firearms. Next, let's take a look at accessories. He comes with the beam rifle. It's the exact same beam rifle that comes with the version 1 figure. However, it stays in his hand very well. Doesn't wiggle out, doesn't wiggle about, and fits in there nice and tight. Very nice. He also comes with the Hyper Bazooka. Now, if you recall from the version 1 review, it was much different from this. Comparing them side by side, you'll see that the version 1 bazooka is a bit smaller. It's a little bit hard to tell on this camera. The version 1.5 bazooka comes in 2 colors, and the pegs to store on the Gundam's rear is larger. First, let's see how it looks inside his arm. It can be held over the shoulder or under the arm. Either way is fine, depends on how you want to do it. It looks a bit better too, though it still doesn't look natural, we'll say. Looks better at least. And it plugs on the rear peg, like so. Then they're nice and tight. but can easily be removed. Try this again. He also comes with 2 shields. I'll just show you the one. And I'll compare it to the version 1 shield. From the front, not that different. I think the vent that looks out at, it can look out through is, yes, actually it looks wider and it has a larger opening. On the back, if you remove this connector piece, the peg that stores into the back is much larger. As a matter of fact, I believe the yes, and the pegs where the handles go are also larger on the version 1.5 shield. Also, one is a lighter color. The handles are also very different. As you can see here, the larger one is the version 1 shield handle. The smaller one is the 1.5 shield handle. Has a tiny bit more detail. Has a larger hole, of course. Anyway, there are 3 ways the shield can be stored. You can simply have the handle like this. And the Gundam can hold it out in front of them like so. The arm sometimes droops a bit, but it can still hold it up. Or, if you wanted to simply connect to his arm, you connect the rectangular piece to the peg, turn the handle upside down, and put the rectangular peg into this rectangular hole into his forearm, and now it's much more stable. Or you can just take the middle piece off. The peg will go into the backpack. I can do it. There we go. And there. Also, if you wish, you can take the handle off. I'll keep it on there because, you know, where's it magically going to go? He also comes with 2 melee weapons. He comes with 2 beam sabers, but he comes with 4 hilts. This is very handy if you just don't want to lose it. You can hold the saber decently enough, but it can easily try this again. It's easier to knock it out of his hand than it is the beam rifle. Or you can remove one of the hilts and take the beam javelin, which actually has a removable hilt. Simply plug it in, and he holds it like so. Or you can do it two-handed. I like two-handed. And that's the RX-78 1.5 in a nutshell. So, how would I compare it to the version 1 figure? Much better. This figure was also repainted and retooled to make the Battle Scar RX-78 1.5. But since that is different enough to be its own figure, I will do that in a future review. This review will be split into multiple videos. So part 2 will begin on the vehicles. Stay tuned.